This is Shuri's Sunbird, a brand new set that came out on October 1st. I was really excited for this as soon as we saw the very first images. I know, listen, I know we're all Star Wars fans, but other themes get a pass when 1, it's a ship, and 2, because it's cool and I wanted to. Immediately after building this set, I liked it even more than when I first saw it in pictures. The way everything comes together, the very unique shapes and angles that this ship has compared to many other ships we've gotten from almost any other LEGO theme. And the color scheme as well, I really like the light blue that's used on the thrusters here. And then of course we have some gold and purple accents all around the ship using quite a bit of stickers. A decent portion of the gold is made up from stickers with just a few pieces here or there, but all the purple bits are actually pieces, including some very unique ones that are used on the wings. Enough about the original build though, let's take a look at our new and improved modified build. So new and improved is obviously subjective, but this is new and improved to what I want out of this ship. Like I might have mentioned earlier in this video, I was a big fan of this ship, all the shapes and the angles and pretty much everything about it. There was just one thing that I needed, and that was some interior space. The thought process and the planning that I had for these mods was pretty straightforward. I needed to move these side thrusters further back so I had space for an interior space up front. And secondly, I wanted to use these interesting shaped wedge pieces to create a little bit of an alcove on either side of the ship for the thrusters to fit into. Now I know the edges of the thrusters are circular and this is much more of a triangle, but it gives me the exact look I wanted, and now it looks like the thrusters are just meant to sit in here perfectly in this nice little alcove that it's made. And once we did both of those things, that gave us all the space we needed to have a front interior section. So let's make this ship just a little bit more manageable. Let's pop the thrusters off and take a look inside. So up front, we'll quickly start with the cockpit because it's pretty much unchanged. All I really did was add these gray pieces on the backside here to give Shuri a proper backrest, make it more of an official seat in there so they're a little bit more comfortable when they're flying the Sunbird. And then up front, it's just that same control panel that came with the set. Moving along just behind the cockpit, we can go ahead and pop off our side doors and get a good look at the interior space we worked in. It's a very small and cozy interior space, but luckily I was able to work in a little bit more detail than just standard walls. On the front end of the interior space, I managed to work in a little bit of a control panel / dashboard area. I used a mixture of translucent pieces to help make up different screens, dashboards, or even buttons. And then on the bottom, I wanted to work in a little bit of that gold accent that the outside of the ship has, so I used an extra grilled vented piece on the bottom. And then just above the dashboard, you can see I have that stud with the bar sticking out to use as a little bit of greebling. I know it's pretty dark in there, so you can't quite see it, but if you don't want that bar piece sticking out of the side, you can just point it upwards inside one of these archway pieces. And then other than this front dashboard, I wasn't able to work in much else on this interior space. One of the reasons this interior space is as small as it is, being only 3 studs wide, is because I didn't want to mess with the structure of the front end and the cockpit. I love the way that all these lines meet up and intersect, all the different angled plates that are used, and the way the canopy closes on this piece here is just too perfect. Overall, this front end structure was just great, and I didn't want to mess with what LEGO already perfected, so I opted to mess around with the main spine of the ship rather than the front end. And once we're all done on the inside, we can go ahead and just pop on the side doors, and it's all closed up once again. And speaking of the side doors, I wasn't really able to work in any detail. Anything else sticking out and would have just been a little bit too bulky. Now I know it's bulky already with the addition of the interior space and these side doors being so large, but I didn't want to add anything else that protruded even further out. I really liked the overall skinny look that the main portion of the ship had, and I wanted to try and keep that as much as possible, so I opted for just putting one smooth tile on the side. And now that we finished covering the Sunbird, the last mod is actually something that I don't typically do, is I modded one of my minifigures. So here we have the brand new Ironheart minifigure. And I absolutely love this figure. I only have one gripe with it, being that we didn't get a helmet. But I'm willing to bet there's a reason why she's wearing goggles rather than a helmet, so I'm sure we'll find out in the movie. But the bit of Ironheart that I wanted to go over was actually the weapon that they had. Now I'm not really sure what it was meant to be before, but I didn't like it.
What is that?
So I went ahead and tossed on a bunch of extra little pieces and I created what I'm calling the Heavy Gauntlet. I'm assuming the original build is some kind of gauntlet, and because we don't know a whole lot about Ironheart or what all the technology that she's created is named, so the best I can really give you is the Heavy Gauntlet. If you guys prefer the smaller, more compact original build, go ahead and stick with that. But I wanted something a little bit bigger and a little bit meaner. And the biggest reason I wanted to make her weapon up front a little bit heavier is because these thrusters on the back are already so heavy and her figure can never stand upright. If you have the standard gauntlet, no matter how you position... What? Okay, I stand corrected. That was actually the first time that that's happened. I guess you can stand her up without a heavier weapon. But I wanted to make a heavier weapon, so I did, and this is what I ended up with. And with that, that pretty much covers everything that I did to Shuri's Sunbird. Now, I didn't expect to pick up any Marvel sets anytime soon, but this was a really unique ship that I just couldn't ignore. And as well, the other Black Panther set, the War on Water, I really like the way that that thing looks, and I have some interesting ideas to try and blend that into the Star Wars universe and make it into a flying vehicle. So make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss out on that video or any future alternate build or mod videos that I post. And of course, if you have any suggestions for any alternate builds or mods that you'd like me to do, go ahead and drop those down below as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, fellas.